Hello, my name is Mimi and today I'm going to read a book called Bats. Imagine 4. Also read and imagine. Chapter 1. We here, said Grandpa. He took off his rucksack and put it on the ground. This is where we're going to camp tonight. Why didn't we just drive here in the van, Grandpa? Asked Rosie. Grandpa smiled and pointed at the mountain and forests around them. I wanted you to have a nice long walk in the national park. It's a beautiful place. Ben and Mug started to put up their tent. So the children heard the sound of the picking up truck. Grandpa went to meet the driver. It was Nicole. She's a park ranger. Grandpa told the children she knows all about animals in this national park. She's going to tell us about one very interesting animal. Which animal? Asked Ben. Bats, said Nicole with a big smile. I hate bats, said Rosie. They're frightening. No, they're not, said Ben. Bats are amazing, said Nicole. They fly all night. They use sound to catch their food. How? Asked Alex. They can make sound as they fly, explained Nicole. When the sound hits a bug, it bounces back to the bat. The bat knows where the bug is. Wait a minute, said Rosie. Bugs? Are there bugs here that will bite us? There are lots of mosquitoes around here at night, said Grandpa. But don't worry, I've got mosquito spray. Oh dear, said Clunk. I forgot the mosquito spray. It's still in my van. But the van's far away, said Mox. That's okay, said Clunk. I'll go and get the spray, said the little robot. The little robot started to go back to the van. Chapter 2. Grandpa was looking in his rucksack. The marshmallows are in the van too, he said. Ben and Rosie, can you go and tell Clunk, please? Yes, said Rosie. We'll go to the van with him. Ben and Rosie ran after the little robot. Before they caught up, Ben stopped. Rosie, he said, look at this. He was pointing at the small cave. Let's have a look inside, Ben said. We have to catch Clunk, said Rosie. It'll only be a minute, said Ben. We can use my cell phone as a flashlight. He looked at his little sister. Are you frightened? No, said Rosie. We can have a quick look inside. The light from Ben's phone was strong, but it's still very dark in the cave. Please, can you find Clunk now? Said Rosie. Just a little more, said Ben. Suddenly, there was a sound coming back. It was moving quickly in the dark. A bat! Shouted Rosie. She jumped when the bat flew close to her. It's okay, Ben started to say, but he couldn't say any more. There was a little hole in the floor of the dark cave, and the children didn't know about that. As Rosie jumped, she and Ben fell into the hole. A second later, they hit the hard rock. Are you okay? Ben asked. Yes, answered Rosie. But how are we going to get out of here? Ben stood and looked around by the light of his cell phone. There were another cave now, and this one went down to the mountain. We can't climb back up, Ben said. I hurt my arm when I fell in. Chapter 3. The children shouted and shouted for help. Nobody can hear us, said Rosie at last. And I can't use my cell phone here, said Ben. Grandpa thinks that we're with Clunk. He won't look for us until Clunk comes back. He looked around. There's a lot of caves in the mountain. We just have to find a different way out. Come on, Rosie. The children walked and walked in the dark. Sometimes they went up and sometimes they went down. Sometimes they went left and sometimes they went right. Is this the right way? Asked Rosie. I think it is, said Ben. At last, they get a much bigger cave. There isn't a way out, said Ben. Wait, said Rosie. He put his hand on the bird's arm. I can hear something. Carefully, Ben moved the light from his cell phone and he could see better. Look, said Rosie quietly. There are bats, hundreds of them, maybe 1,000, said Ben. The bats are hanging upside down, sleeping everywhere. Slowly, Ben began to move back. Let's go. We don't want to be here when they wake up. You're wrong, said Rosie. We don't want to be here then. Now I have an idea. Outside, the sun was going down. Max looked at his watch. Where are they? He asked. I wanted to make a fire with Ben. Suddenly, there was a happy shout. I'm back! I brought the mosquito spray and I have marshmallow too. It was Clunk. Great, said Alex, but where are Rosie and Ben? Clunk stopped. I don't understand, he said. Rosie and Ben didn't come with me. Chapter 4. Max and Alex were afraid. Where were their friends? Clunk didn't see or hear them in the forest, said Nicole. Perhaps they're in one of the caves, but there are many kilometers of caves here, said Grandpa. I know. Nicole was already running to her pickup truck. I have flashlight and rope, she said. Come on, we can't wait. It's going to be dark soon. Suddenly, Max shouted. Look at that! Alex pointed to the place up the mountain. Alex turned and saw hundreds of small black shapes that were flying fast out into the evening sky. It's the bats, said Nicole. They've woken up to look for their food. Grandpa didn't look up. He wasn't frightened and wanted to find Ben and Rosie. But where should they begin to look? Ben and Rosie waited outside the bat's cave. They listened carefully. Have all the bats gone? Rosie asked. I think they have, said Ben. Rosie smiled in the dark. That means that there's a hole to the outside world. If we find it, we can leave. Great idea, Rosie, said Ben. But will the hole be big enough? I have another problem, Ben said. He looked down the phone in his hand. Its light is getting weaker and weaker. How can we find the hole in this big cave without a light? Asked Rosie. Ben took Rosie's hand. I know, he said. Come on, inside the cave. Ben shouted loudly. Hello! What are you doing? Asked Rosie. I'm doing the same thing that bats do, said Ben. Chapter 5. Ben shouted hello again. Hello! Sound bounced back at them from the cave walls. Hello! He turned and shouted again. Hello! Again, the sound came back. Hello! But when Ben turned and shouted for a third time, the sound didn't bounce back to them. That's because there are holes in the cave wall there, he explained. That's the way out. Outside, Grandpa and Nicole were looking at a map. There's a lot of caves, but Grandpa said. Which one should we start at? We don't have to, shouted Clunk happily. I can see Ben and Rosie. The robot pointed up the mountain. Ben and Rosie were coming out the same hole as the bat. When they arrived at the tents, Ben said, I'm very sorry, but Grandpa, we only wanted to have a quick look in the cave. Cave can be dangerous, Grandpa said. You must never do that again. Then he smiled. You're probably both hungry now. Very hungry, said Rosie. Okay, said Grandpa. Let's make a fire and eat those marshmallows. Later, they all sat around the fire while Nicole told them more about bats. They're interesting, beautiful animal, she said. As she listened, Rosie looked up at the night sky. She could see the little black shape flying there and 3 bats. I agree, Rosie said with a big smile. Bats are amazing. This is the end of the story. Do you like it? I love it. I hope you like it, and don't forget to subscribe.